Hi, my name is Katina White. I am an eighth grade educator at Forest Heights STEM Academy. I also serve as the curriculum director for UAMS Junior STEM Academy, and I serve as the director of educational programs for a company called Diversity Booth Incorporated. Today, I'm going to discuss creating argumentative CER inquiry labs using Android phones. This is a way to create exciting and engaging moments in the K-12 classroom. We're going to discuss three things in this presentation: the sensors that we have in our Android smartphones, the Android applications that can be used in the classroom, and how to set up CER labs using the Android applications. So let's talk about these sensors. We have so many sensors in our phones that we kind of just use our phone. We don't even think about the sensors that make that makes those things capable of doing the things that they are able to do. So we have the hygrometer, which helps which senses relative humidity, the infrared sensor, which helps us scan the barcodes or QR codes. You have the global positioning system. If you ever use Google Maps, of course, that helps us with our directions. You have the gyroscope, which if you're able to do those panorama shots, it helps you do that. You have the heart rate, which is utilizing the LED and light sensors, which can measure irregular heartbeat. So if you've ever downloaded a workout app that detects your heartbeat, it's using the LED and the light sensor. And then you have the microphone, which picks up sound, and we utilize the microphone to communicate. Well, there are certain apps that you can use in the classroom that utilizes all those sensors to help and conduct experiments in the classroom. I'm only going to talk about one for this particular presentation due to time. And that particular one is one that I find very useful. It's called FIFOX. It allows students to utilize the sensors on their phone for experiments, and it's free. So it's able to do like test acceleration, test magnetic fields. It's a tracer. And so I use this app in my classroom to teach or to introduce certain scientific concepts or content. Why CERs? Well, I utilize CERs because it allows students the opportunity to create their own authentic experimental design, and it also helps students make connections with science concepts, and content. My CERs usually require 40 to 45 minute sessions. The first session includes my students creating a claim, conducting their own experiment and collecting their data, and then creating a reasoning statement. And then the second session is composed of a group Socratic seminar where my students get to present they get to make their claim, talk about the evidence that they received or they collected, and then tell their peers their reasoning statement. And then their peers are available to give feedback on how they conducted their experiment. They can argue against their reasoning statement and then prove using the evidence that they have received from their experiment as well. So this is a way where they can engage in a scientific discussion about experimental design, which is very beneficial, especially as a middle school educator, for students to think about why they do the things they do, or why and how we conduct experiments. So what does the integration of Android phones in a CER inquiry lab look like? So first, prior to this, I would have introduced the FIFOX app to my kids. We would have practiced using some of the tools that they use, and then prior to me even introducing this content to them, they would have already been familiar with writing claim statements, collecting evidence, knowing the difference between quantitative and qualitative information, and then writing a correct reasoning statement. And then this would come on later. And so the science concept, let's take inelastic collision. So I would set it up where I would present, hey kids, you have basketball, this is a meter stick, and you're gonna need your Android phone with the FeedFox app downloaded on it. That's all I would say. And then I would pose the question, does a basketball lose more energy the more it bounces? You will need the inelastic measurement tool on FeedFox. That's it. I would just pose that question to them. Each group would then start to write their claim statement. I give them about 5 minutes. It looks like they get each team will get a whiteboard and they'll set it up just like this claim statement at the top, evidence and reasoning down at the bottom. They have a space to collect their evidence and then they have a space to write their reasoning statement. And then they have another 10 minutes to discuss and create their experimental design. So they would come up with a procedures on how they would conduct their experiment using the FeedFox app. So you would hear dialogue on, we need to do this, we need to set it up. This is where we probably need to drop it from different heights. So you would hear all of this going on, the exchange going on, and you would see them writing their procedures down. And then maybe 15 or 20 minutes where students will conduct the experiment and collect the evidence. And this is what it looks like on the FeedFox apps. It detects it at each height, and it also gives them a lapse in time. And so they're able to see if energy was lost over time. It also gives them the energy at which the percentage of energy it was at each particular collision. And then students will get together and they will discuss and create evidence-based reasoning statements. And this is the rubric that I use to help my middle school students create good and concise reasoning statements. It has to include sufficient and relevant evidence. It has to describe how the evidence defends their claim, and you have to compel the reader to accept your argument. So if it doesn't include that, they won't receive full points, but this is a way where they can gauge to see if they're actually creating a correct reasoning statement. And then on day 2, each group will present their claim, evidence, and reasoning. And then each group has an opportunity to provide feedback on that experimental design and results. There are various ways that we can utilize the Android apps and CERs. With the FeedFox, there's a way you can test acceleration. So this is an example of a CER that can be created using the FeedFox app and using your Android phone, and it's free. So that's the end of my presentation. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me at Katina White at lrsd.org. And thank you. Talk to you later.